You weren't born, you were cast. Before you could speak, they handed you a velvet-bound script. Not to read, of course, only to memorize. The lines had been rehearsed for generations. Be good, work hard, find someone, buy something, stay safe, die quietly. And you? You delivered them flawlessly. You smiled on cue. You cried at the right moments. You hit your marks and bowed when told. Applause followed. Grades, promotions, compliments, likes. Your performance was award-winning. Except, you always sensed the audience was asleep. Or worse, just actors too, pretending to care. You see, the tragedy isn't that the script was dull. The tragedy is that you believed it was yours. But Joseph Campbell leans in from backstage, candlelight flickering on the edges of his wisdom. You must give up the life you planned in order to have the life that is waiting for you. Not tweak it, not revise it. Give it up. And giving it up doesn't feel like liberation. It feels like murder. Because that script, as suffocating as it is, gave you applause. It gave you identity. To kill it is to become nameless again, lineless, free. Let's not pretend you wrote it. The script you've been clinging to, the one you call your life plan, was ghost-written. Your parents drafted the first act before you could walk. Your teachers marked revisions in red pen. Corporations produced it. Social norms proofread it. Religion added moral footnotes. And social media, it handles marketing. You didn't plan this life, you inherited it. It came prepackaged with safety nets, milestones, and a subtle warning label. Do not question the plot. When you did question it, when you paused mid-line or forgot a cue, the system didn't scream, it sighed. Are you okay? It asked, as if deviation were illness. Friends looked away. Bosses lost eye contact. Likes disappeared. The punishment for going off script isn't exile, it's silence. And silence is terrifying when you've been raised on applause. But here's the bitter joke. The people who enforced your script, they're just following theirs. Line for line, scene for scene. A generational loop of obedience disguised as tradition. The old script survives because no one wants to be the first to admit it's trash. You changed jobs. You broke up. You traveled. You posted a photo with a vague caption about starting fresh. But look closely. The lighting's still the same. The script is intact. This is the tragedy of pseudo-rebellion, swapping fonts on a contract you never agreed to sign. You moved the furniture, but the walls stayed. You burned out and called it awakening. You quit corporate to build a brand about quitting corporate. You dyed your hair, but still crave compliments. You left the stage, but only to play the same part elsewhere. True change isn't cosmetic. It doesn't get likes. It gets silence, rejection, internal earthquakes that don't make good reels. What most call transformation is just performance in a cooler costume, a new chapter that follows the same outline. Scene headings change, but the lines, still obedient, still hungry for applause. So you say, I'm free now, but you whisper it, hoping someone hears, still hoping someone claps. Some scripts are lies. This one was theft. You didn't write this life. You inherited it like an old suit, pre-tailored to fit someone else's fear. You called it your plan, but it was a recycled blueprint from people who never dared redraw their own. You memorized your lines. You didn't notice the ink was someone else's. Your dreams were passed down like family heirlooms, dented, dated, and utterly uninspired. Be successful, they said, but success was a synonym for obedience. Follow your passion, they said, but only if it fits the plot. It was never your life, it was your role. You clung to it not because it felt right, but because it came with claps. You confused comfort with authenticity. You mistook legacy for identity. You believed repetition was purpose. But here's the final twist. Even the people who sold you this script, they don't believe it either. They just didn't know how to kill it. So maybe it's your turn to end the play. No one warns you how death begins. It doesn't start with tragedy. It starts with a shrug, a skipped instinct, a muted voice. The life you were meant to live doesn't collapse in flames. It fades quietly, invisibly, in the name of maturity, in the name of being realistic. You sacrifice parts of yourself on altars called professionalism, politeness, productivity. You didn't kill your real life with a gunshot. You smothered it with compliance. Slowly, repeatedly. Every time you stayed quiet when you wanted to scream, you rehearsed dying. Every time you smiled when you wanted to leave, you memorized your own erasure, and society applauded you for it. Such a strong person, they said. What they meant was, such a convincing actor. The tragedy isn't just that your true life died, it's that you were the one who played executioner and called it adulthood. This isn't a rewrite, this is arson. You don't update a virus, you delete it. You don't negotiate with a parasite, you cut it out. The same applies to your inherited script. Kill it. Don't revise it. Don't give it a new cover or a quirky monologue. Don't package it as conscious capitalism or intentional living. Burn it. Because until it's ashes, you'll always be tempted to pick it back up, especially on the days when uncertainty claws at your throat and applause sounds like oxygen. Joseph Campbell didn't say, edit the life you planned. He said, give it up, because what's waiting for you doesn't come with a spotlight. It comes in shadows. It comes when you fumble for your own words and discover, with horror and awe, that there are no lines left to follow. You'll tremble. You'll want to run, but that silence, that terrifying naked silence, that's the sound of life finally unchained. Burn the script. Watch the smoke rise like a signal to the life that's been waiting for you. Not on stage, but in the wilderness. To live unscripted is to live uncelebrated. No curtain calls, no standing ovations, just the trembling awkwardness of being real. It's terrifying, which is why so few do it. Because performance has metrics. Realness doesn't. There's no feedback loop for authenticity, just silence, confusion, and maybe, slowly, peace. Living without lines means forgetting how to impress. It means letting go of your carefully rehearsed answers to what do you do and where do you see yourself in 5 years. It means disappointing people, scaring them, watching them drift away. It means waking up in the middle of the night, sweating with no stage light to explain who you are. But it also means waking up with your own breath, your own voice, your own damn soul intact. So yes, the risk is enormous, but the reward, presence, ownership, the end of applause addiction, and maybe, finally, the start of living. Picture it. The curtain rises, but there is no applause. No actor steps forward, no spotlight searches for a star. The stage is empty. The velvet drapes hang like questions with no answers. And in the center, a single candle, flickering, refusing to go out. No script lies beside it, just ash. The remains of 1,000 borrowed lines, now smoke curling upward into oblivion. That candle doesn't deliver monologues. It doesn't seek praise. It simply burns, unapologetically, as if to say, I exist. That is enough. You've spent a lifetime fearing this moment, the absence of direction, the lack of role. But now, standing at the edge of the darkened theater, you understand. The stage was never meant to be filled. It was meant to be left. The real story doesn't happen under lights. It begins the moment you walk out the side door, unscripted, uncertain, but finally unmistakably yours. You can go back. The old script is still there, folded neatly, still warm. It waits backstage like a desperate ex, familiar, flattering, quietly venomous. It promises applause, structure, approval. It promises to make life easier, and it will. At the cost of your aliveness, it will praise you for playing dead, and no one will stop you. In fact, they'll thank you for not making things uncomfortable, for fitting back into the frame, for remembering your lines. But if you're still here, if you've read this far, then some part of you is already burning. Some part of you is sick of acting, tired of being good, ready to be real. So no, you don't need permission. You don't need a new plan. You don't need a map. You just need a match.